What you can see here has been described as something like the holy grail for paranormal investigators. This photo shows the fire at Wem Town Hall that happened in November last year. It was taken by a local man, and when it was developed, a girl appeared in the burning doorway. Some say this is the image of a ghost, something people have tried to capture since the invention of photography. No wonder it's caused such a stir. But is this photo all that it seems? The first written account of Wem appears in the Domesday Book, and by the 17th century it was a prosperous market town. But the tightly packed timber frame buildings of the time provided the ideal fuel for the Great Fire of Wem on the 3rd of March 1677. Well, this is where the fire started. 14-year-old Jane Churm dropped a candle into some firewood. That ignited a blaze that could be seen 9 miles away. The whole town was destroyed. And if you look, that is just yards away from the 20th century town hall that burnt down in November last year. An image of a young girl is said to have emerged from the smoke and flames, an image some say is Jane Churm. Tony, you took that now famous photograph. Have you been interested in photography for very long?
Yes, interested for a number of years, but it's only the last so-called months that I've learned to do my own developing.
Now, you didn't develop that particular photo until months after the fire. Why was that?
I didn't finish the roll-off until March, which is when I developed it. I built my own darkroom in my garden here.
All right.
Can I look inside?
Yeah, great. After you.
When I got the negative, I held up to the light, used a magnifying glass, and saw like a spot that they shouldn't have been there. But on a closer look, it seemed to be a head, like a head on top of the railings.
But is there any chance that someone could have been standing on the fire escape at any time during the blaze?
Well, when we arrived, there was a very intense fire going on the first floor of the building. Within minutes, we had to withdraw our crews. It was simply unsafe. The fire was spreading inside so quickly.
Now, if that photograph is to be believed, during the height of the blaze that you've just described, a figure appeared just about here.
Well, at the time the photograph was taken, I think we'd already set a cordon in place to prevent people coming too close to the fire, both our own personnel and members of the community. We were concerned about the structural stability. The fire was so intense. So I don't think anybody could have got here without us noticing anyway and attempting at least to drag them back. It would have been very dangerous for them to stand here.
Whatever the explanation might be, you don't think it possible that there's a person here during the fire?
No, I think it's extremely unlikely that anybody could have stood here to have their photograph taken this close to the fire.
The picture's notoriety grew following publication in the local press, and it wasn't long before strange stories began to emerge, stories that in some way seemed linked to the phantom image. Roger, what was your role here?
Well, working for the company that was called in to try and make the place safe and clean up after it, I came up here the morning after to find a scene of absolute devastation, as you can imagine. The floors were down, there was a film of sooty, oily water on here, and whilst I was looking at where I could tread, there appeared to me 3 or 4 footprints of a child size. They were sort of, one would guess at about 3 or 4, size 3 or 4.
So just very small footprints?
Yes, just very small footprints. Yes, just there.
There must have been security, the firemen were still around. It would have been very, very difficult for a youngster to get up here.
No, well, no, I can't say that a child could get up here. I mean, everything is possible, but it's most improbable that a child could have got here.
Now, it doesn't end there, because some of your colleagues also saw something unusual.
Yes, a little later in the contract, when we were over in the other side of the building. The 2 fellows who had been working throughout the building were coming up here to close down at the end of the day. And they got to this point at the head of the stairs, and they looked up and saw this figure which was standing, hovering, whatever. They're not sure whether it's male, they're not sure whether it was female, but they were certain, absolutely certain, that they saw a figure there.
Were they pulling your leg, do you think?
They weren't pulling my leg. No, they're two honest lads. They would not have repeated it, certainly in public, for fear of being ridiculed, laughed at, taken the mickey out of. No, they wouldn't have done that. What they said they saw was there.
What the workmen didn't know was that another man claims to have experienced something very similar in the same place. He worked at the town hall when it housed a cinema, the year 1940. You were the apprentice projectionist.
Yes, that is correct.
Now tell me what happened to you that night.
Well, it was at about 10:15 when we closed down. My job was to close that top trap door there and put the lock on. And the head projectionist was in front of me here. And then as I was coming down the stairs, I'd looked and I saw the mist coming up from the bottom at handrail height. So it came slowly and slowly up the stairs until it reached to the top. It was more oblong than round, and it was very, very cold indeed. And the nearer it got to you, the colder you went. It was very, very frightening. It was just moving at a steady pace, and it got to the top here, turned right and went straight down this passageway and through the end door and disappeared.
These incidents seem to add weight to the notion that it is a ghost in the photo. But is the photo genuine? It is, according to a group that examines paranormal phenomena.
Members of ASAP, the Association for the Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena, have had the photograph and the negative analysed by Vernon Harrison, our photographics expert, and he's determined that it's not a fake, that the negative hasn't been played around with and it's not a double image, double exposure, so we think it's a genuine picture here.
So you don't think the negative or the print have been doctored? Do you therefore say that this is a genuine photograph of a ghost?
Well, it looks like a girl, but that doesn't actually mean that it is a girl here. My personal belief is it's something falling out of the fire onto the railing and giving us the image of what looks like a girl. And the problems are, if you look just here, it's very square. So I think it's a beam fallen out, still burning, glowing onto the sides, another piece of debris in the action of falling, and we have a jagged, raggedy edge as the heat's rising, etc. The rest of it's square, and this weird little face on the front.
But the Shropshire Fire and Rescue Service say, whilst it's not unknown for a blaze to produce images that trick the eye, in this case the face is so clear that it doesn't seem like a plausible explanation. If the fire didn't create this image, what did? Well, the solution could be here, somewhere. This is the National Museum of Photography, Film and Television in Bradford. Here they have examples of spirit photographs and expertise in the subject. They do say the camera never lies, and these certainly look like ghosts. What can you tell me about these photographs?
Well, they're lies. The images are not ghosts, they're double exposures. They're the kind of image, however, that's been made and has continues to be made today. They've been made since about the 1860s. These others are a little bit later, I would say maybe the late teens, 1920s. And they're all done the same way. They're printed from two different negatives.
Okay, so pretty laughable fakes.
Yep.
What about this more modern photograph?
This one's tougher. It doesn't feel right to me. And I think part of that is that this looks to me in here as if it's been manipulated, worked by hand.
Okay, so what do you think?
The first thing I noticed about it was that the apparition seems to have horizontal scanning lines going across it, as if it's been taken from a TV screen.
From a TV screen?
Yeah, that's what it suggests to me.
What do you mean?
Horizontal scanning lines, like you get from a TV picture.
They're just around this area where the supposed ghost is?
Yeah, they don't appear on the rest of the image. The image of the girl has been taken straight from a TV screen, photographed onto film. If you had a picture of the fight, it would be easy to drop in the image of the girl on top of it.
What you're saying is that the image of the little girl has been superimposed on this burning building?
Yeah.
You've done your own version earlier today. The same burning building, a different face peeping out.
Yeah.
Does it take a lot of expertise to produce an image like that?
Not at all. Anyone with a basic knowledge of photographic printing would be able to do it.
So overall, you're saying that this photograph is not all it seems.
It's consistent with being manipulated.
Being a fake.
Yeah.
Now, experts at the National Museum of Photography say that the most probable explanation for your photograph is that, in fact, it's two images joined together.
No way. No. No way at all.
They say that the horizontal lines on the girl's face suggest that it's been lifted from something like videotape and then superimposed on the snapshot of the fire.
No, I haven't done that at all, no. No way. It's up to them what they say or what they think, but, you know, it's none of my doing.
The photographic evidence suggests this picture is a hoax, though Tony denies it. But what about those witnesses who claim they saw ghostly phenomena in the town hall? Well, their experiences remain a mystery.